Good morning and welcome back to It's Within Your Reach, the Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing Workout. And we're working on the T.R.I.U.M.P system. We're going through each module week by week, going through the whole T.R.I.U.M.P system. And we're taking ourselves from that traumatic, distressful time that we're going through during this pandemic 2020 and taking us out through the T.R.I.U.M.P system to bring our life to a better quality, a higher quality. Sounds good. And today we're talking about the P. We're on the second day of the P, and the P is about peer-to-peer. It's about community. It's about building each other, helping each other, nurturing a caring community, a caring society. So if you're tuning in, if you're listening, even if you're watching on playback, stick in the comments, give me an idea. If you're watching playback, do hashtag playback in the comments. If you're watching live, just stick your name in the comments and where you're coming in from. We're talking about community. So welcome, and we're talking about the trauma to T.R.I.U.M.P system. We're working through each module, and you can go back and watch the previous videos and go right through them while we're coming up to the P. And basically, we're talking about social support. We're talking about helping each other. And we know that this is essential for maintaining physical and psychological health. I mean, we're talking the whole holistic system here. And in my opinion, the social side of the T.R.I.U.M.P system, but the social side of well-being in general for human beings is probably, in my opinion, the number one element. We can go through almost anything if we're not going through it alone. If we have people with us, and the minimum is one, but one plus more people, if we have people around us, if we have people mentoring us, if we have people supporting us, if we have people just being with us, knowing that someone has our back, knowing that someone is there to rely on, knowing that somebody is there to trust, knowing that I have my people that will make me feel safe and not alone. This, in my opinion, is the number one antidote to psychological health and physical health. And we know from studies that is backed up. That we know that even going through major heart surgery, that those who have this social support after they come out will have faster recoveries. We know from emotional and psychological disorders, those who have emotional and spiritual and social support by other human beings have a faster recovery. So it's really, really essential for maintaining that psychological health. And it actually enhances our resilience to stress and distress. So it's not just about recovery. It's not just about, fixing something after it's happened. It's about prevention. People need other people. It's as simple as that. And when we have other people, then it builds our inner resources. It strengthens our inner resources. And that builds that resilience to distress when it happens. And there's no going through life without distress, right? It's just, who knows that better than people living in 2020, right? But just generally speaking, even when there's no pandemic going on, distress is part of life. And so there's no getting away from that. But if we want to build resilience to that, we need to have a support system. That support system can come from our family. That support system can come from our friends. That support system can come from our colleagues. And that's one of the problems that we're having today, is that a lot of people, their social system, their support system comes from going into their place of work. And that is their system. They might be working in a country not in their home country, so they're working abroad, right? People working in the UK that have come in from abroad, and they're working here. They don't know anybody here apart from the people they work with, and they're used to going into the location of the work, and their colleagues are their social system, their support system. They are their other human beings that they mix with. And when that's not happening now, because businesses are closed down or people are now working from home, the disadvantage there is that we're not mixing with other human beings, and that can be very distressful for other people. Okay, so that's really important that we take that into consideration. It's really important that we understand that our society, even though there are advantages to working from home, you roll out of bed, you're in your office, okay, you wear whatever clothes you want because you're working at home and you've got everything at hand. But there is a real big downside to that, and that is that we're not mixing in real to real time with other human beings. We do have that virtual connection, but it's not the same. So we need to, if we want to enhance our resilience to distress, we need to find a way to be in connection with other human beings. And we know from studies that this protects us against developing trauma-related issues. Now, it doesn't have to be full-blown issues like post-traumatic stress disorder, but even other developing traumatic-related issues such as substance abuse, such as other non-useful behaviors that we might start doing, that, we can even look at what's happening during this pandemic 2020, when people are starting to use and abuse food, use and abuse alcohol, use and abuse other substances, use and abuse their relationships, use and abuse their own bodies, because we start to develop trauma-related issues. And if we don't have a support system in place, if we don't have friends, if we don't have a social circle, if we don't have a support circle, whether it's from family, neighbors, friends, whatever, then we won't necessarily have the best protection and prevention in place against developing these trauma-related issues. And we're talking about real things like not just moral support, which is really important, but we're talking about actually being able to rely on other human beings for material support, for, if I need a lift, if I need shopping done, if I need a little bit of money, whatever it is, if I need some extra clothes, whatever materialistic things I need. If I know, first of all, that there's somebody that I could turn to, that already has an effect. Just knowing that there's that possibility there. I don't actually have to ask for anything, but I know that if I do, that there'll be somebody listening on the other side. But also, if in reality I do need something, then I know that there's somebody out there that cares for me. I know that there's somebody out there that I can trust, and somebody out there that I can rely on, somebody out there that I can get help to get the material resources that I need. And this is really, really important. And we talked about yesterday also about, being helped in your performance. You might be able to do everything yourself. It's okay. But I also like to have my mentors, like to have my supporters, like to have people around me that can say, you know what, you're doing this really well, but maybe you could try this a little bit different. Maybe you could do this. I get incoming advice from my people that I built around me. the people that I've chosen to be associated with, the community that I like to be part of. And I have a two-way relationship with those people, with that community. I offer myself to them and I let them offer themselves to me. And in doing so, I can enhance my performance in the things that I'm good at. And I can improve my performance in the things that I'm less good at. And I use my community for feedback. I use my community for support. I use my community for learning from. So that's really important. And we want to be able to identify and use the existing strengths that we have in each other. So I can help others and be able to pull out somebody's strength, because when we're in distress, sometimes we're so disconnected from our own strengths, right? And it takes somebody else to come and identify and say, wow, wait a minute, here's some that maybe it's time that we can use that for you right now. Or maybe I can help you develop a new strength to help you get through this distress at this point. And that's what this peer-to-peer community building system is all about. And that's why I've built it into the T.R.I.U.M.P system, so that we have a place in the T.R.I.U.M.P system to help each other. It's not just about self-improvement. It's about helping each other to improve, helping each other to become stronger, helping each other to develop, helping each other to raise the quality of their life and have a higher quality life together in this we-ness, in this togetherness, this developing of our society, developing of our community, developing of our families and our friends together. That is what we need to do. If we want to have a higher quality life, we need to help others have a higher quality life. And to do that, we need to have a shared purpose that we can work together towards. Now, that's a shared purpose that I can personally benefit out of, and there's nothing wrong with that, but also as a group, we can benefit. So what's really important in community, what is really important in shared purpose, what's really important in peer-to-peer and social groups is that individuals benefit from this. And as a group, we benefit from this. So we benefit from all directions. I feel fulfilled personally, and the group as a whole is fulfilled and flourishes. And the more the group flourishes, the more resources I will also enjoy from the group. And the more I enjoy resources from the group, the more I can contribute back to the group. This is what community is all about. This is what support is all about. This is what peer-to-peer is all about. It's about that two-way direction, me contributing and supporting to others and to the group, and the group supporting me in my individual fulfillment of my values and how I want to live. And of course, there's an interaction there. There's a compromise there. What's better for the group? What's better for the individual? But that is what life is all about. That's what humans are all about. Humans are all about sharing. Humans are all about moving forward together, supporting each other. It's not about me, me, me. It's about we. It's about us. It's about developing ourselves within a group, within each other. And that's really, really important. That we-ness is not just a philosophical thing. That we-ness is a medical thing. That we-ness is a spiritual thing. That we-ness is a psychological thing. That we-ness is a emotional thing, and it will reduce our feelings of isolation, which is extremely important in our health and well-being. We know that human beings, when they're isolated, will start to deteriorate, and if their isolation is extreme. They can even die. So we have a situation where isolation is something that is not in a human being's advantage for well-being. I don't mean having self-time. I don't mean having times in the day when we have, ourselves to ourselves and we get on with our own things. That's not feelings of isolation. Feelings of isolation and loneliness is a serious state of disorder, a serious state of dysfunction, a serious state of fear and anxiety when you believe that you are on your own in this world and that something can happen to you and nobody would know and nobody would care. That's feelings of isolation. And human beings do not function well under those conditions. So when we have we-ness, when we have togetherness, when we have sense of community, when we have a sense of social support, we will reduce those feelings of isolation. And it will increase our sense of empowerment, that we can do, that we are able, that we are competent, that we are willing, that we are able to go out and try things that are unknown to us, that we are willing to put in effort for new things, for existing things, that our self-efficacy goes up, that we believe that we can do this, we can start visioning and creating and feeling safe enough to do things in our life that are beneficial for ourselves and others. And importantly, in times like these, when we're going through a world crisis, we'll be able to develop effective ways of coping on our own and with each other. This all comes from this we-ness. This all comes from sense of community. This all comes from peer-to-peer support. This all comes from people helping other people. And that is really, really important. So basically, what I'm trying to set up here with the T.R.I.U.M.P system is that we help each other. That it's not just self-development, it's we development. It's something that we go through together. We build ourselves and each other. That we join together and that we help improve ourselves and improve our community, improve our society, improve the world in a we-ness philosophy rather than an I-ness philosophy, but not cancelling out the individual, but enhancing the individual for the benefit of everybody in the group.
Disclaimer, this show is not therapy, nor a replacement for therapy.
Should you wish to inquire about therapy, counseling, life, or executive coaching, please contact Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman at factcpfa@gmail.com.
factcpfa@gmail.com.
Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman is a highly experienced psychotherapist,
executive business coach,
and author of the book, Mind Over Terror, 3 weeks, 2 cities, 1 mission.
With over 10,000 hours of experience and academic degrees in government, law, clinical social work, and a postgraduate diploma in psychiatry with distinction,
Dov has the background to help you. He's also available for public speaking and corporate training.